Hey guys, this is Oshi and this is going to be my first impressions of the Game of Thrones Tarot deck. This is the box. Obviously there's a flip through if you just want to see the cards in the description. And I have this deck for a while now, but I didn't kind of felt like filming a first impression, but then I decided that because the new show, which I completely blanking on the name, I know it has something with dragons, it just started, and I want to do something, fun with that. And which deck would be, perfect for Game of Thrones spin-off? Obviously, a Game of Thrones deck. So I was like, okay, I need to film the first impression before I do that. So this was a deck that I obviously saw, it's not a new one, and I saw people excited about it, and some people were like, the first version with linen cardstock is the best, and then there was a second one, and I was like, by the time I came around, just seriously considering getting this deck, I was like, the linen must be out of stock, and only the new cardstock would be available. But I mean, if I look at the edition, it looks like this is the first edition because it kind of feels and looks like linen-y. It might not be because I don't have an extensive knowledge on linen cardstock, but it has the texture. So either this is, either I was lucky and got a copy with the original cardstock, or the new one is not as bad and not as flat. So I don't know. I think the new one is flatter because I think I've seen walkthroughs or pictures, and this type of texture doesn't show up on pictures. So I don't know if you have both edition maybe, or you have the first and you recognize it, please do let me know. Or the second and you recognize the difference. But so originally, I loved the show, and yeah, I'm one of those who loved the ending. My only problem with the last season was that it was indeed short. At least 2 additional episodes could have been done, but I think every character went into a direction and ended up in a place when they were heading to. So, if you didn't like it, I'm sorry. I look at Game of Thrones as a medieval European war kind of show, like Shakespearean, shit, and it kind of went where I was expecting things, to go, and not even as much people died in the end as they did in the beginning. So that's a win-win. But when I was kind of looking through walkthroughs, I wasn't sure that I wanted this deck because, when you're really familiar with a show or book or something and you love it, and you have an idea about the characters and the words and what happens and why it happened, things can be very personal, and they can often they can be often a mistranslation between the deck and you, and not because the deck has a problem, but it's because we're all different and we look at characters differently. We love certain aspects of certain characters and hate others, and it can be very challenging things to create a deck that can be good and usable for many people. And there were cards, which I have them here. I mean, this is the bigger part, this is the back, which obviously is perfect, which I'm not gonna show you. Like I said, you can check all the cards if you want in the flip through. These are the ones that I was like, I just want to show you a few cards that I love. There's a lot, and to be honest, I kind of like a lot of things, but there were like I think these were 4 just when I went through the deck initially, when I watched walkthroughs, that kept me away from the deck, especially Ramsay as the devil, and I didn't see Jon Snow as the emperor, because when I think about the emperor, it's about that stable, powerful, almighty, whatever, not almighty, that's a god, figure who is ruling over a land, and has a stable foundation. And I never associated that stableness with Jon, but That's why the guidebook is amazing, to be honest, because when I went through and checked the meanings of these cards, that I was like a bit, I find really good explanations. I loved the explanation for John, because that was that he is one of the people that he's leading. He's a true leader in the sense of he was there in the battlefield in the first row. He's not just someone who's sitting somewhere in a, like a beautifully ornamented tent and just gives orders and sends people to die. He is gonna be there in the first row, and if he's asking you to risk your life, he's gonna be there risking his, and that's a true leader. And I think one of the reasons why I didn't really, touch the deck when I first got it is it's not just that I wasn't in a mood to film a walkthrough. I kind of think that I had to watch the Hollow Crown TV show, which sounds so weird to call it a TV show, but it's about Shakespeare's king dramas, which has such a similar mood, to this show and to this place. And it's all about how much, if you read Shakespeare, but if you didn't, go ahead maybe and read them or watch the TV series, because it's a brilliant adaptation in my opinion. It's full of amazing British actors and actresses, and they did it so well, at least, my personal opinion. And I had that show I think a year ago, and I started watching it, and I was like, oh, Sir Patrick Stewart, because he was in the first, like 15 minutes in the first episode, which was, I think it was Henry IV. I think that's where it starts, but I'm not entirely sure right now. They are going chronological order with them. But I was like, nah, I don't care. I don't wanna watch it. And I didn't watch it. And then I even deleted it, and I was like, maybe one day. And I know why I was, I got interested. And sorry, this is gonna be a tangent. I was watching Sandman, and I wanted to check because I was sure that I didn't see the main actor nowhere before. But I was like, I need to check. Because he has a face that I probably would have remembered, but sometimes I check actors and I'm like, I've seen you in 6 things, and why didn't I remember just now? But indeed, I didn't see him in anything before, but he was in Hollow Crown, and I was like, oh, okay. I was expecting him to have a small part for some reason, but nope, he has a big one. And so, while waiting for the last 2 episodes of Sandman to come out, I went ahead and watched all the Hollow Crown episodes, and they were brilliant. And I'm so happy that I waited until I was in a mood, so to speak, to watch it, because I really enjoyed it. And after watching that and coming here to this deck, I have a much better understanding for just what this card, because that series and Shakespeare now incorporates into this card, which might be like, what it, just read it like the Emperor. But I kind of enjoy that extra layer that I have now that I can pull with this card. So after that 5-minute long why I like the Emperor now and didn't like it before, the Devil was something like, how I read the Devil is someone who's gonna come into your life and gonna tempt you into doing things that are really, really not good for you, and you're gonna be ashamed of yourself for doing things and not able to stop doing them, because there's that addiction, there's that, shame associated with that feeling. And when I look at the Devil, I need someone who can tempt me into doing things like that. And even though the actor itself, he is very, very handsome, his character is horrifying and he's evil. And, I was like, I wouldn't be tempted, do anything when he was, Ramsay was showing up. I would be running across everywhere if I could after like a minute, because he's just evil. but how the guidebook explains it, this is how you become, or what you become, if you give in to the devil, and what the devil can entice you into. Your darkest desires are not necessarily just, ooh, I'm gonna go and participate in sex parties, because that's often like, like, what is dark, like sex. We're still not sex positive in that way, so we associate darkness and things like that with sexuality. But in this case, it could be that you're just gonna be like, I can torture people, and I enjoy it, so why not doing that? And not put that filter on that you would put on, because that society doesn't work like that. So after reading the guidebook now, I'm like, okay, I'm completely on board with the devil being him. And I really do love, I'm gonna talk about the guidebook as well just in a second. Hangman also, I was like, okay, this is what, I wasn't even thinking about Theon Greyjoy. When I looked at the picture or the image, I was just thinking about the Bolton's, flag. And I was like, that's just enticing fear in people. Why is it a hangman? But turns out this is representing how Theon was going through what he went through and what he had to overcome, and change his perspective on himself to get out of the position that Ramsay put him in. And if you know the show, you know how much effort that took to get out of that victimhood that he was in. He never really completely overcame the trauma, which I think also is a layer for this card, which is a good one, because it can be much more serious to be in this position than just, like, oh, I was living a life I didn't like for a few years, but I realized one day that I want to do something else, and I did it. It can be a lot more engraved into people and much harder to get over or get out of that place, if you can even do that. And a lot of people's tragedy is that they cannot leave this forced position, the position that they were forced into by life, by their parents, by society. And that gives a lot of power to this card as well. And, those are really serious big ones, but the Ten of Cups, I was just like, where are the cups? But turns out there are cups with candles, so those are the cups. And there are smaller portions of text for minors in the guidebook, which I was like, no, because but fortunately they didn't leave out the description of the image. And this one was I think it was Ned Stark and no, it's Eddard and Catelyn Stark's bedchamber, and the coziness, and these cups represent all the children and like members of their family. And that, so it's not just a dark picture with a bunch of candles. Now it represents a home. It represents generations and the happiness that they felt when things started. Which we know how it ended, but yeah, now it's a perfect card. So I really like the guidebook. This deck is so well illustrated. I'm just gonna show you a few cards that okay, just one card, because everything else is, explanation. I love this Two of Cups. It kind of looks like a medieval poster, but what I love about is just the aesthetic. But and I hope okay, I'm gonna just stand up for a second. Okay, because I have no idea where I am in the screen, but hopefully, I was in screen. But it says father, smith, warrior, mother, maiden, crown, stranger, I am something else, and I am his, and he is mine from this day until the end of my days. So it's probably a vow, a wedding vow. At least I would think that, but it just looks really, really cool. And and really fitting the settings. The only thing that I didn't like with the minors, they are illustrated, so they are not lazy, except for the usual Three of Swords, which, where is it? I didn't want to show, but you know, let's complain just a tiny second. If I can quickly find it. I love this one. It kind of reminds me of the Red Wedding as well, which is not a good association for a Three of Cups, but it kind of looks like a tattoo. It fits the style, I guess, but I just, you know, and you know, different swords, so blah blah blah. But I would have appreciated something else. Maybe even a dragon heart, like, I don't know. I haven't read the explanation for that one because, you know, I haven't done a full read-through of the guidebook, but there are so a few things. It's beautiful. It looks actually like a book, which is always fun. I don't necessarily, you know, need that, but it's a nice extra touch. So how to use it, how to do tarot and stuff like that. There's quite a few spreads which I loved. At first I was like, ooh, where are the numbers? Like, because, you know, it's a spread and you could go like 1, 2, 3, which is kind of obvious. But when spreads like this come into picture, I didn't see the numbers next to them, and I was like, oh, there's no number. How, you know, how am I supposed to know which card falls into which position? And then I don't realize, and it's not easy to see. Maybe on camera it's easy to see, but before I realized that the numbers are in the cards, so there are actually numbers, I didn't see them. And when I just looked at them, I was like, I have no idea which was the first card, and if it matters which is the first, but yeah, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So there are numbers, it's just not, because of the colors, it's not that easily noticeable at first. At least it wasn't for me, so that's why I was like, I'm gonna mention it, so just in case you didn't see that. Now, of course, I see the numbers because, you know, I realize that they are there, but just in case you didn't realize that there are numbers, there are numbers. With the, do I have the full, I don't even remember. Yeah, of course. So these are the cards that I liked, which is pretty much the whole deck. So we have obviously Tyrion as the fool. He's a good fool. Sometimes I would have wanted Jon Snow to be the fool, but then I realized that he wasn't intentional enough in that aspect when he started things. What I mean by it is that he was following his inner compass, obviously, but he was. I feel like with Tyrion he was trusting the bigger picture. With Jon Snow, he was just trusting that what he was, who he was, and what he was taught to be was enough to take the next step. And with the Fool, I like that trusting the bigger, you know, trusting that things are happening for a reason sense. That's how I read the Fool. That's why Tyrion is a good one. And why the guidebook is good is there are key meanings, which is always good, you know, useful, especially if you study or you just start learning tarot. But then there we have the representation of the card, why the character was chosen, and it's a very well explained, paragraph. It's not, or reason. It's not just like, oh, we have the Tyrion of the Fool because it was kind of like a jester. I mean, ha ha ha. No, obviously not. He had that, quality that he could say the truth more often because of his physical attributions, because you for some reason there's the hypocrisy or hyper whatever or double standards that that comes with certain physical attributes, that we're gonna not act like you're exactly like a normal person, and let me put such a huge air quotes around that is not even visible. But you know, those are interesting social questions that we're not going to talk about right now. But I would love to at some point, but not now. So, and then we have a numerological explanation for the number, and we have that for each card, which I think it's really good because I'm not, even though I'm not the biggest on numerology in tarot, it's because I don't really took time enough to learn it yet. It's gonna come, I'm sure. But right now, some things with numerology go against how I read the cards, and I don't want to confuse myself. That's why I'm just chill about numerology. There are things that I use, like the 4 is stability, you know, like that, but I'm not there yet. And then we have an upright meaning and then the reverse if you want to. But there are an additional meaning as well. And with this word, for example, with the Fool, we have independence, a student, a young person leaving home. So I think that's a good one because you can incorporate that into practical questions. Like if someone is asking about going to university and they got the Fool, if you're learning what the cards mean, you can pull that meaning from the guidebook and get a clearer picture of what your answer is immediately. And there was something else that I've seen. Yeah, maybe. Oh, there are the minors, but I don't even know now. Maybe it was just the additional meaning, but I know I saw something that I wanted to mention. Oh, it's probably just the extra message after the numerological part. Yeah, oh yeah, that was the one with the, I think it was with the, where's the devil? Where did the devil go? Did I put him there? Okay, devil is hiding. What does it mean? What does it mean that the devil is hiding? Nothing good, right? So yeah, so it gives you that the 14 reduces to 6, that is the lovers, and devil is fear, the antithesis of love, which I loved, you know, that pulling that connection between the devil and the lovers, because it's there, but a lot of more and more decks are, you know, starting to illustrate these two cards in pairs, but there's some that are still, you know, not do that. And that's I think, like the devil being fear and love being love, and those are the two opposing energies that we are working with day by day. I think it's a great, you know, great thing that it's in the guidebook. So it's a great one. I do think that this is a great guidebook. It's a great deck. The illustrator, oh, and author, okay, I didn't know, I thought that it was like different. It's Elise Dean. I'm gonna remember that name. I'm gonna check if, I mean, even if this person never creates, she is a she, another tarot deck, because you created something really nice and really good, I'm gonna keep an eye, because just by personal experience, I'm working on, you know, the third deck that I want to get out at pretty much the same time. You can't really stop creating decks. And okay, I don't know. Oh, 4 tarot decks and 10 books. Okay, what the hell? Okay, I need to check out that. You know, I should read the text, but I was trying to decide who was the illustrator and who's the. Okay, okay, Craig Cost. Oh my god, that sounds so weird. Craig Cost, I think, is the illustrator from San Francisco. Yay! Where one of my favorite watercolor artists, Tony Moy, lives. If you don't know Tony Moy, please check out his Instagram. If you look up his name, you will find him. But let's look at some favorite cards. So 9 of Coins, obviously with Brie. Oh god, I'm so unsure about names because it was such a long time ago. That's a good one, because she was, you know, always just working through it, very loyal, very stable, working slow. Awesome. 9 of Swords with Ramsey. I kind of see that too as a devil, but you know, there's definitely a more shadowy aspect of the card. I liked the traitor with the Ten of Swords because, you know, Ten of Swords is definitely an ending, and it doesn't necessarily have to be just you feeling really, really horrible without any good reason, aka depression, which is, you know, any good reason. But, you know, it's not something that you can put your hand or fingers or hands on, like this is the reason. But maybe something happened in your life that made you feel like that everything is ending and you're never going to be able to recover from it. And being a traitor or being called a traitor is definitely something like that. Oh, look at that, the Nine of Cups with okay, I'm freaking forgetting names. Why do I forget names? I should have checked the names before, but why not? I think I'm gonna just, you know, skip pretending that I remember the names. Sam, why did I forget his name? I don't know. But that's a good one, obviously. Sam being in the library finally and being like, oh. Eight of Cups walking away from the night watch. I think that was very powerful. Six of Cups, Sansa and Jon talking about, you know, the good old days. It has that melancholy and kind of bittersweet feeling as well. Four of Cups with, again, Sansa. Sansa became one of my favorites at the end. I think a lot of people just didn't realize how much strength she needed as well, because, you know, obviously Arya was going through all the things and she was braver and she was, you know, standing up and doing all the things she did. And I'm not taking away from her journey, but a lot of people didn't realize what Sansa actually went against. She went into the system and then realized that it was not working, and then went against it from the inside, from being surrounded by that. So that was a different kind of power, but that required power as well. Not, I mean, what's that? I could be. I have to check who is this exactly before I say something. I kind of don't like that spears and swords are, you know, like spears are wands, because those are a weapon as well, and I usually associate a weapon with swords, like the air element. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Just I can see myself sometimes getting confused. Okay, well, Ned Stark. Okay, I was just like, wasn't sure exactly yet. I was like, maybe it's someone else, but no. Ned Stark, I don't necessarily see him as the King of Wands. If anything, I would see him as a King of Swords, I think. Or the King of Pentacles. But Littlefinger is a good King of Coins, so, you know, I understand. And a few others. Hermit with brain. Oh God, let's pretend I know the names. Strength, obviously perfect. The lovers as well, because of what they had to go through to choose each other, and, you know, where they came from. Magician with Littlefinger, again, a really good one. Of course, who is gonna be a priestess if not the actual priestess? Empress with, you know, Daenerys. And I love the dragons. It's a good one. I think she embodies the shadow and light aspect of the cards really well. The beginning is her light aspect, and the end, where she ended up, is the dark aspect of the card. Hierophant, perfect. Chariot. I mean, it's a dragon. I love a dragon, but, you know, Wheel of Fortune could have been something else, but it's not bad. Justice, obviously. Death, who else if not Arya? Temperance, Sam, great. The Tower is a good card because it shows that if you know your fandom, you can pull objects and places into cards that will give you an extra layer and not just, you know, a tower, because we know what happened in the tower. And I like that Sansa is the star, because she was looking for that, you know, she had a harder time finding her true self and where she needed to go than the other ones, I think. The moon, okay. And I kind of didn't want to go through the whole deck, but, you know, Dragons with Sun, Judgment is a great one. And of course the word is a map. But yeah, I think Judgment with the Night King is like, he's coming, you're gonna be judged. Yeah, so yeah, I think I'm happy I got the deck. I wasn't expecting it to be this good, and I only got it because it was on sale at such a price. Ooh, I like the shuffling. That I was like, even though I shouldn't buy anything right now, I was in that, you know, like I need something to cheer me up mood, and it was for actually a good price, so I got it. And I kind of like, I still can't really bridge back the deck, but I'm not gonna pretend I can do that, because why would I do that? I don't like pretending, that's why. Okay, that's not true. I like pretending that, you know, certain things are one day gonna change. Because sometimes that sort of pretending is the only thing that keeps you going. But let's just see, let's pull a card for just the one, like I said. Fun! And I know a fool is trying to come out, but I want just one card for everyone who watched this for the end. And it looks like we're not getting one card, but we have the Emperor and Two of Cups. So let's be one with the people. Let's be one with those that we're trying to influence, I guess. And even if we're in a leading position or we're trying to lead someone, let's remember that we're all equal. Doesn't matter if society tells us that we are different and we have different status and all that. It doesn't mean that we're not equal, because we're all human beings, and no matter what you do or what you want and how you want to influence, even if it's a positive thing, people in your life, just remember that you need to do that in a way that you can honestly call the situation equal in the end. I like this. I like these two cards next to each other. So yeah, this was I'm entirely sure, I'm pretty sure this wasn't short, but this is my first impression. And we will see how this deck actually works, even though I have very positive expectations of the deck and how it works in the long run. But yeah, at some point you're gonna see a few months in where I talk about my longer term experience. And if you want to see the deck in action, I just check out that House of Dragon, I think that's the title of the show, readings, which I'm gonna go do weekly. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Those all help my channel. But if you just watch, that helps as well. Thank you so much for being here and have the best day possible. Bye.